School is back, and Dick's Sporting Goods has what you need to win your year. We've got everything from cleats to Sambas, dunks, and more. Plus, the hottest looks from Nike, Jordan, and Adidas. Find your first day fits in-store or online at Dicks.com.
Want to teach your kids financial literacy, but not sure where to start? Greenlight can help. With Greenlight, parents can keep an eye on kids' spending and saving, while kids and teens use a card of their own to build money confidence. As a parent, you can send instant money transfers, set up chores, automate allowance, and more. It's a convenient way to run your household, customized to your family's needs, and the easy way to raise financially smart kids. Get started with Greenlight today and get your first month free at greenlight.com/Spotify.
Reporting live from under my blanket, I'm Susan Curtis with Dunkin' at Home. Breaking news, pumpkin spice iced and hot coffees are back. I'll pass it to Mr. Curtis with his blanket for the full story.
That is so right, Susan. You know, it's never too early to get in a spicy mood. I'm talking cinnamony goodness that's so tasty, people don't want to leave their blankets either. Back to you.
No, back to you.
All you.
The home with Dunkin' Pumpkin Spice is where you want to be.
Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat With Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very first episode of the 24-25 season of the post-match. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know whether to call it post-match Chat With Chaps, post-match reaction, post-match analysis. I don't know. But whatever it is, this is the first one. This is the show, ultimately, that if you're listening to this channel for the first time, this is the show that essentially you probably heard before, albeit on a different podcast. So we're going to give this a go. We've been busy over the last month. There's been quite a few videos have gone out, but if this is your first time checking out the channel, thank you very much for tuning in. And obviously we're going to do our normal, and we're going to talk a bit about the game yesterday against Watford. I'm recording this on the Sunday, so I've had a bit of time to, I guess, calm down my immediate reactions and try and give the sort of balanced view that I normally do. So let's get into it. And as always, thank you very much for listening. Again, if this is the first time you listen to the show, please do like and subscribe, because as you can see in the bottom left, or if you listen on a podcast, all profits this season will be going to Cancer Research UK. So really looking to build this out as much as we can. So hope you had a good summer. Let's get into it. Before we talk about anything football related, it is absolutely vital that we address the occasion that is more important than football, which was to celebrate the life of Matija Sarkic, who tragically lost his life at just 26 years of age over the summer. I felt, as a club, both clubs did yesterday proud. A special mention to Watford fans. I thought you were outstanding, and I pass on all my thanks to any Watford fans listening to this. You were incredible. The reception that you gave it, the banner that you created, it was just a class act. And even subtle things like the Twitter posts that you put out, and just a massive thank you. But it was a very emotional day yesterday. I can't even imagine how Matija's father and his family, Bojan and the rest of his family, were there pitch side. And, I think there was a lot of men reduced to emotions just seeing his family, and the strength that they show is incredible. Unfortunately, over the years, we've had a lot of practice as a club coming together for times like this, and yesterday was no different. And I felt we celebrated Matty's life, and that should always be more important than any game of football. The luxury of life to have it, and to still be here. And Neil Harris put this perfectly in his post-match review. Is something that we should always be thankful for. So very, very important that is the first topic of conversation before we talk about anything football related. So love and positive energy goes out to Matija's family in what must have been a very, very emotional day for them and for everyone involved. Okay, let's move on then to football related things. So let's talk about the starting lineup. So, of course, I've got a new graphic for you. I'm such a geek, but I love it. So, putting this out. So, the starting lineup was what I thought it would be, in all honesty, which is the same team that started against Southampton. So, it was Lucas Jensen in goal, a back four right to left of Ryan Leonard, Sean Hutchinson as captain, Jake Cooper, Joe Bryan, two central midfielders of George Saville, Casper Denor. Wide right, Romain Esse got his start. Wide left was Duncan Watmore. In behind Tom Bradshaw was George Honeyman. So that was the 11 that started. I think we probably all expected that 11, given what the game was against Southampton and who started that game. Was it the 11 I'd have picked? Obviously, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I personally, it's easy to sit here now and say Omaku should have started. I personally probably would have started that 11, but I would have moved the front three around. I probably would have had Romain Esse in the 10 because I felt he would be a lot more effective, and we'll get into it. But Romain was largely ineffective, I felt, yesterday, and that's not to discredit him. He's a very bright attacking young talent we have, but I felt he was largely ineffective yesterday. Let's get into the game. So obviously after the emotion of the game, I think the first sort of 10 minutes, we started quite well. We had a lot of territory. I think we had one decent chance from Bradshaw, whose header sort of narrowly went wide. And we had, as I say, the first sort of 10, 15 minutes, I felt, or maybe 15's a stretch, but first 5-10 minutes, I felt we started okay. We sort of dominated the territory, as I say, but without really testing them too much. And then they started to come into it for me. I felt that after that, Watford looked like the better side. And I want to say early that I think it was two poorish sides yesterday. And this is the thing, you never really know where you are until sort of 10 games into the season. But I think it was still two bottom half sides for me. I didn't see anything yesterday that changed my mind. We do need to bring players in. We'll certainly get onto that. But based on where we are now, I think it was probably two bottom half sides. And I think our first half performance was really poor overall. We will come on to moments in a minute, but I think to summarise, we just played too many long balls. And whether that was under the instruction of Neil Harris or not, whether it was, as he called it in his post-match, emotional decision-making or not, I don't know. But we are not going to win games of football just pumping it up to 5'11" Tom Bradshaw, I don't know, he's even 5'11", up against 3 6'4" centre halves. It's just not going to work. We don't have the centre forward in the squad to do that. We actually went on to play a much better style in the second half, but we'll come on to that when the time's right. And that was really the summary of the first half. I just felt that we were lumping balls up. We weren't winning the first contact because Tom Bradshaw wasn't ever going to win those headers. And then I felt also Watford won a lot of the second contact, which normally we're good at, which is why at times it felt very un-Millwall, un-Neil Harris-like. And what was certainly very un-Millwall, very un-Neil Harris-like was the goal that they scored on 22, direct from a corner. So the corner should never happen. So I think this is important because I've seen a lot on socials and various takes on the game, which quite rightly blaming Lucas Jensen for the goal. But it should never be a corner because he should hold the shot in the first place. It's a decent save, but it's a save he should hold. And I always look at this because you have to look at the phase before the goal to understand where the original mistake happens. And it should never be in a corner in the first place because Lucas Jensen should hold it. Yes, the shot goes through Sav's legs, but he should hold that. Even the commentator said it was a nervous save. And I want to get this out of the way as well. I'm going to lay blame solely on Lucas Jensen for one goal, which is the first one. And I think possibly could have done better with, say, the other two. More the third one than the second one. And I'll state my reasons why later on. But you don't become a bad goalkeeper overnight. We've signed Lucas Jensen. He was the best goalkeeper in the league below. I can only imagine the occasion got to him yesterday. I don't know this, but I think a combination of he made a poor mistake in the Southampton friendly. He's playing in a very emotional game, and ultimately he knows he's only there because a young lad's lost his life. Everyone at the whole ground is remembering, our previous goalkeeper. It puts a lot of pressure on him. And yes, he's a professional athlete. He should be able to deal with that. But he's also a human being. And I just think that, yes, whilst I lay blame on him, and I think ultimately if he doesn't make those mistakes, we win the game. So he's got to take that. And I'm sure Neil Harris put his point of view across. I think to judge someone based on one game would be ill-advised. And I think that we shall see how his Millwall career progresses. We have a habit of signing goalkeepers that don't start particularly well. God rest his soul, but Matija had a first few games, he looked a bit iffy, and then he went on to be outstanding for us towards the back end of last season. So I don't want us to over-rotate and I think all of a sudden he's a bad goalkeeper. Every single Lincoln fan I spoke to said he's this big commanding presence that comes for everything. I didn't see him come for anything yesterday. And you have to ask yourself the question, why? However, having said that, the goal should never go in. It's a really poor goal to concede. Yes, it's a good corner. And yes, the defender does come across at last minute and block him off, but he's 6'6". He has to do better there, and he has to be more of a commanding presence. We're 1-0 down. It kicks us a little bit into life. We have a couple of chances. The main one, of course, is on 37, where Duncan Watmore does brilliantly. More on Duncan Watmore later, but I thought he was excellent. He does brilliantly. He managed to wriggle his way through. Is he brought down, or is it a dive? My personal view is I don't think it's a penalty. I don't. A lot of people do think it's a penalty. Ultimately, this is my opinion. I don't think there's any contact. However, the fact that Duncan was so perplexed by the decision not to give a penalty would maybe suggest otherwise. I've watched it back and I don't see any contact. Having said that, George Honeyman has to score. Yes, there's multiple bodies in between him and the goal, but there's two opportunities there. He has to take one. And how we've not equalised then, I won't know. And we then go in at halftime 1-0 down. They had a few more periods of possession without really threatening, but you could tell that they just had something we didn't, which was just pace and athleticism. Until Maku came on, we didn't have any of that. And that is why we have to address this in the transfer window. I was going to save this stat for later, but the average age of our outfield team yesterday, take away the goalkeeper, average age was 29.4 years old. That is insane. We have to address that with younger, more athletic people that are happy to take the ball and run at someone. And that's exactly what Amaku did in the second half, which changed the game. But half-time, we're 1-0 down. In my opinion, a really poor first half performance. Was it emotion? Was it just poor tactics? Was it poor? I don't know what it was, but it was a really poor first half performance. Although having said that, we should never really be going into that losing. So we then come out in the second half, no changes, and we should score almost immediately. And I have to say, from the second half performance point of view, I thought we were really good. And I came out the ground yesterday being really disappointed with the result. And it takes a while to reflect and be like, actually, it wasn't so bad after all type thing. And I actually think our second half performance was really good. We scored 2 goals. We created bundles of chances. I actually felt we played some decent football. We didn't just lump it. We managed to create overloads in wide areas. We were better in the transition. And how we've not got something from the game. Watford fans listening to this, I don't know what your view is, but I can't see how we've lost that game, in all honesty. But that's football. We should equalise on 49. We win a free kick, good ball put in. And George Saville, a bullet header from a free kick. But, of course, it doesn't end up in the net. It rebounds off the post and goes to safety. Then, of course, comes the free kick on 55 after we'd really started to, to turn the screw and put them under a lot of pressure. And they win a free kick. And again, to my point earlier, I always look at the phase before. So how did the free kick even come about? Well, the free kick comes about for a few different reasons. They start to break, and Watford at times were really good on the transition. And it was the lad who ended up winning the free kick and scoring the goal that does this. The Georgian lad, Chevadze, I'm not going to pronounce his name right. They're number 8, who I thought was excellent. He gets the ball, he turns, he drives. And if you watch it back, Ryan Leonard is left 2-on-1. And he can either go to the ball because Savon and Denor are further up the pitch. But if he goes to the ball, he leaves their left wing back, because Romain Esse is also nowhere to be seen, free. So he decides to go to the ball. And he's got no option but to bring him down. I don't blame Ryan Leonard for giving away that free kick. I blame probably Romain Esse and one of the central midfielders for not stopping that attack. But they win the free kick, and this is divided opinion. Should Lucas Jensen save it or not? So I'm just going to, for those of you watching on YouTube, you're going to see a little still now. For those of you listening on podcasts, I'll describe it. But this is Lucas Jensen's starting position from behind the goal, because from different angles, it can tell very different stories. So this is just as about as the goal, as the lad's about to hit it. So my observations here is that Lucas Jensen's starting position's okay. He could probably be slightly over to the right, but that's what the Wolves job is there for. So I can understand why he is there. The wall, to me, looks a bit too far over on the right. I feel like it probably should have another man in it, and it should be a little bit more to the left-hand side. What then ends up happening is, I'll take you to the next shot, is here. And it ends up in the back of the net, and it does go pretty much in the corner. It's an excellent free kick. If he moved his feet a bit more, and if his starting position was a little bit further to the right, could he have saved it? Possibly. However, do I blame him for that goal? No, I don't. I think it was an excellent free kick. And I don't think there's many players that would score a free kick like that from 30 yards out. And I don't think there's many goalkeepers that would save it. And that's just my opinion. The challenge is when you get wrapped up in this emotion of everything was Lucas Jensen's fault, and you see it for the first time, you see it from different angles. But for me personally, I don't blame him for the goal. Could he have possibly done better? Maybe, but it would have been an absolute world-class save if he had managed to save that. So we go 2-0 down, and Tom Cleverley said this in his post-match, that they scored at the right time because we were really starting to turn the screw. And unfortunately for us, they score at the complete wrong time.
This episode is brought to you by our good friends at NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube TV. I'm sure by now you've all gotten back into your Sunday routines, but they could be even better. With NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get the most live NFL games all in one place, every game, every Sunday. And you can even watch up to 4 different games at once with multi-view, one of my favorite inventions of this decade. It's exactly what you need to catch all the action, make your Sundays more magical. And also, YouTube TV is great. I got it this year. It's awesome. Sign up now at youtube.com/BS. Device and content restrictions apply. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
This episode is brought to you by Experian. Are you paying for subscriptions you don't use but can't find the time or energy to cancel them? Experian could cancel unwanted subscriptions for you, saving you an average of $270 per year and plenty of time. Download the Experian app. Results will vary. Not all subscriptions are eligible. Savings are not guaranteed. Paid membership with connected payment account required.
But we then, again, I just felt this shows the character of the group, because to me, I didn't feel we were out of it at 2-0 down. And we weren't, ultimately, because we go on to score 2 goals. The first goal comes on 74 minutes. Before that, we showed some glimpses. I think George Saville had another good header from 69. Free header, he probably should have done better. He's under a little bit of pressure, I think, but he should have done better. There was a little few moments of trickery from Watmore. And then, of course, Mr. Imaku comes on, and for me, changes the game. Could he do that from the start of a game? It's very, very different doing that at the start of the game than it is when you are the other team are backs to the wall, they're defending, they don't need to try and score, and the crowds are. It's a very different. It's a different occasion. However, the 2 goals that we score don't happen without Imaku. The first goal, he just has that pure pace and athleticism and attacking intent. He gets the ball, and it doesn't come off every single time, but he gets the ball, and because he's so quick, he can knock the ball so far ahead of him, knowing he's going to get there first. And he did that a few occasions, put the ball across, didn't really come to anything. But on 74, it does. He plays the ball across goal, defender clears it, it goes straight to Duncan Watmore, who half volleys it in the roof of the net, hits the bar, comes down. I thought for our luck it probably would hit the bar and bounce away, but it doesn't, and it's 2-1, and we're back in the game. And you just felt I hate to bring this game up, but a bit like the game against Blackburn, where we were winning, and when they scored, you could just feel the energy and the tide just shift. You felt that, and as I know we was on the wrong end of the result at the end, but that second half was quite an exciting game to watch. I came out of it. I know we lost, but it was an exciting game of football to watch. For the neutral, definitely. But I felt that we had 16 shots, yesterday. We created 5 clear-cut chances. We had more possession than they did. We passed the ball over 400 times, which we haven't done for a long time. So there was definitely, I think, the second half, a start, the starting seeds of a bit more of an attacking and a different style of play from Harris. So you have to take the positives as well as the negatives of the first half. The two halves were so bipolar. One half was terrible, one half was fantastic. But we get the first goal, and it's in, can we go on and get the second? And we huffed and we puffed, and we were kind of running out of time. We had a free kick on 87, which, by the way, I don't know who it was, the Watford lad, was it Kiembe? Just shoves over Joe Bryan. And yes, Joe Bryan goes down a little bit easier, all footballers do. But how then the referee decides to book both of them? You have the clash with Pollock and Leonard. Leonard's a real warrior to get up and carry on. I thought Leonard was fantastic yesterday. First 15 minutes, the amount of challenges that he put in to stop them playing was excellent. He certainly carried on where he left off last season. I do think overall the referee's performance was quite poor. As I said, I'm not 100% sure it was a penalty in the first half, but I felt he was very lenient with them. And overall, I thought the performance of the referee was pretty poor. Despite all that, we do get the goal. On 87 minutes, we had a free kick, and I was berating for those of you who sit around me, I was not happy because we put the ball over to the back stick. I think it was a Joe Bryan floated to the back post. But we only had Cooper there and Sav. Like, why is Hutch not there? Why are we... Because if you don't win the first contact, the second one almost doesn't matter. So that then peters out. But we go again. And we go again because Watford give the ball to us. But they give the ball to us because Imaku is hounding them. He's putting them under so much pressure. And Watford, they're not that good a side. You put any Championship side under a lot of pressure, and they're not going to be able to hack it. And Imaku was just hassling them. And Saville does really well to pick up on a loose ball as a result of Amaku's hassling. He drives forward, gets his head up, plays the right pass, doesn't panic, rolls it across towards the back post. Watmore composed and just drills it low and hard into the bottom corner. It's 2-2. And if I'm honest, I just think we're going to go and win the game. I really do. Our towels are up. The energy from the fans. I thought it was an okay atmosphere yesterday. Just to touch on this, 16,500. I honestly thought we would have sold out. Being honest, I know 12:30. I know it's on Sky. Blah blah blah. But with the occasion being first game season, I thought it would have sold out. So, but the energy started to shift, and I was like, we're going to go on and win this game. You know, what a fitting tribute that would be. But we don't, and we get a right sucker punch right at the death. It's interesting because Milivojevic, who comes on and scores their goal, I spoke to some Watford lads in the week, and they were telling me that he's basically like a fridge. He just doesn't move at all. However, he scored 11 goals last season. He just happens to be in the right place at the right time. And unfortunately for us, that happened again. And I'm going to flick up another still here where you can see that, unfortunately, I don't think he is offside. You can see, I think is it Bio? I'm not sure, the lad who's got the ball there, but he's just about to take aim. I think he's shooting. Saville, as you can see, he's lunging there. He managed to get the deflection, but that deflection takes it right into the path of Rajovic, who I think Jake Cooper is playing him onside. If you look at that, which he's got to step out quicker. Look at the rest of his defence. You know, even if they're in line with Joe Bryan and Danny Mack, they're all on that line, but Cooper's not. He's got to step out quicker. He doesn't. So I don't think this is offside. Could Jensen come out quicker and make more of a physical presence? Possibly. But it ends up in the back of the net, and we 3-2. And what's frustrating is we go down straight the other end, and Watmore should score and get his hat-trick, and he'll be gutted that he didn't. I don't think we deserve to lose the game. We hit the bar again in 98 minutes from Cooley Langstaff, but the referee had already blowed for offside, and we end up losing the game. But I think the players weren't booed at the end by the fans, which I think is representative of the fact that the second half was a decent performance. That I think the collective view is that we shouldn't have lost the game. I know it's not, but if the game is played on XG, we win that game 2-1. If the game is played on clear-cut chances, we win the game 5-1. So I know it's not, and a goal changes the whole complexion of the game. I understand that, and I'm not trying to say that the game should be played on XG. I'm just trying to articulate that I think there was a lot of bad luck for us yesterday, and we deserve to get something from the game. We should not be going home scoring 2 goals in open play, which we don't do very often. Losing the game, it just doesn't happen. And I think 2-1, 2-2 would have been a fair reflection of the scoreline. So it is what it is. We need to take the positives and move on. I think there were some more positives. I think seeing Langstaff and Nisbet, actually, they both, I think that could be an interesting combination, actually. Nisbet looked leaner. I have to say, a lot of the players did. I thought overall there were some spells in the first half where we looked a bit leggy, but I think we looked leggy in the fact that we couldn't deal with some of their players' athleticism. I don't think we looked leggy in the sense that fitness levels. I thought overall our fitness levels, if you compare to the start of last season, where we looked like we were blowing out of our arse for 60 minutes, I thought we're actually pretty good. So credit to the players there. And it's just a real shame because we shouldn't be losing that game. And we're not really used to losing the first game of the season. But there we have it. For Watford, I felt that the number 8 was excellent. I think for any Watford fans listening to this, I think you got to make him build your team around him. I thought you had some joy down the left. I thought when Ken Sema came on, he caused us problems as we were pushing forwards. And I think you need another centre-half. I know Wesley Hoyt's injured. I don't know how long he's injured for. I've heard rumours that you're going to be signing Liam Cooper. I think you could do with someone who organises that defence, because at times you did look unorganised. And that's why I'm frustrated we didn't put it to you more in the first half, because the one thing your defence certainly can do is just mop up all long balls up to Tom Bradshaw. So that's that. I think a couple of other little bits that I picked up on was, and I don't know whether this was deliberate, I would imagine it was, but what we tried to do was, when we were in possession of the ball, Ryan Leonard would push up a lot further, which was interesting. So he almost at times was playing as like a right wing back, right winger. He was actually, it's particularly in the first half, if you look back, he was positioned quite far up the pitch, and Romain then went more centrally, and then Denor would sort of sit back and come out to the right hand side to cover. So I don't know if that's something that we're going to be trying to do this season. It makes sense. I'd imagine we'll try to do that with Joe Bryan as well at times. But that was an interesting observation. I'll go on to do some player reviews then, player ratings. So I think, look, we talked a bit about Lucas Jensen. The first goal is unacceptable. The second and third goal arguably could have done better, but I don't blame him for them. And it was a very edgy, nervous performance, and hopefully can move on. It takes a big character and a big personality to play through this type at the Den. And I think what I've heard of that character, he will be fine in time. And I think we just need to give him that. Back four, I thought Ryan Leonard was very good again. Particularly in the first half, he was our standout player from a pure defensive point of view. Excuse me. He certainly looked like he wanted to get forward as well. I thought he was excellent. The one, I think, development area he's got is probably just about his distribution, and I felt that looked better as well yesterday. I think he's a class act, and I think he's, at the moment, I would say he's our best player by quite some distance. Cooper and Hutch were okay. Great for Hutch to get 90 minutes. I don't know if that would have been the plan. And when Tanganga comes back, I would imagine he jumps straight back in. But Hutch, at times, the problem is Jake Cooper's 29. He's our youngest defender in that back four. And at times, particularly in the central areas, we lack pace. And that's, hopefully where Jaffe can come in and make a real difference. Joe Bryan was okay. Don't think he was amazing. I'm hoping that in time he will become a real asset, because he's had a lot of injuries, but he was okay yesterday. Saville and Denor, I just felt that they were representative of the difference between the first and second half. I thought first half they were largely anonymous. I didn't think they were very good at all. And then I thought in the second half they showed for the ball a lot more. You could argue that the first half, the ball was just going over the top of them, and all they could do is focus on winning second balls, which they didn't. In the second half, they got on the ball a lot more, started to dictate the game, and I thought two strong second half performances from those two lads. And George Saville will be disappointed that he didn't get on the score sheet from either of his two headers. The wide men, I thought Duncan Watmore was excellent. Arguably his best game in a Millwall shirt. Should have had a hat-trick though. He looked leaner, fitter, stronger. He completed 90 minutes, which is not a regular thing for Duncan Watmore, as we know. It's got to be his new haircut. Must be. That must be what's doing it for him. But I thought he was excellent. And he's a really good combination of a player. He's just tricky to play against. And he also offers that defensive work, which is probably why he got in the team again ahead of Imaku, because whilst Imaku has that electric pace, Watmore does the defensive work a little bit more, and I think Neil Harris is probably more pragmatic in his approach rather than a gung-ho manager. Honeyman is the one that I don't think added tons of value to the team yesterday. If it was me, I would have put him on wide right and then put SA in the middle, because I think SA, and I've just had a conversation with Nick Hart from Acton Millwall, which will be out early next week. And he said, and I couldn't agree more, SA found out yesterday what it's like when you are the talent. and he's got to find ways to overcome that. And I agree with that, because I think SA was doubled up on a lot of times. At times, I felt his positional awareness wasn't great. There were times where his defensive work wasn't, and from a positional sense, you could see Saville and Leonard saying, you need to be here. I want to play the ball to you here. I think that's partly a learning curve for him. I think it's partly because he's not a winger. I've spoken to him. He doesn't see himself as a winger. And that's why, for me, in absence of other options, I would play SA in the 10 and Honeyman on the wide right. But that's just my opinion. And then Bradshaw, I felt for him. I like Bradshaw. Again, being honest, I think any championship side that plays a 32-year-old Tom Bradshaw as their lone striker, I don't think he's going to be particularly successful. And that's not me slating Tom Bradshaw. I just think Tom Bradshaw is what Tom Bradshaw is. He'll work his nuts off for you. If you put chances on a plate for him, he'll score. But you cannot play long balls to him. I felt for him because he battled yesterday. I just think we need another option. We need a mobile target man. We are crying out for one. We're crying out for one of them. We're crying out for a winger. Femi Aziz, who we've been linked with from Reading, wasn't in the squad yesterday. Can you read anything into that? Don't know. Let's see. But we need a mobile target man. In terms of who's left, I've looked at, I don't have a plethora of knowledge in the Football League, but I wonder whether we go back for Lyndon Dykes. Does it excite me? No. But is he a player that could be quite effective in a system that Neil Harris plays? Possibly. And I'm sure there's many fans, saying, "What are you on about, mate?" And that's why I'm not saying I'll be bowled over by that sign. I would like us to go out and sign someone completely left field and spend a few million quid on a centre forward that's going to lead the line for a number of years. But I just think someone like Lyndon Dykes, who we've courted for a long time, seems that every player that we are linked with, and there's not many, is players that we've been linked with before. Don't really know what that tells you. So I just wonder where we'll end up with. But we need one of those players. And then just to touch on the subs, obviously Danny Mac come on in the end for Ryan Leonard. I don't think he was on long enough to influence the game. As I've already said, I like the look of Nesbitt and Langstaff. They ran around a lot. But the main change was Imaku, and he changed the game. Those two goals don't happen without him. For me, based on his performance yesterday and remains yesterday, he has to start against Bristol. I think it would be very counterintuitive not to build on that. He should start against Portsmouth. Yes, I like a cut run, but given the small squad we've got, I think we need to prioritise next Saturday against Bristol. I will be going. I'm looking forward to that. Bristol's a good night out as well, so that'll be interesting. And we'll leave it there. I just want to say, again, to reiterate, for those of you that are listening to this for the first time, do check out a lot of the other stuff that I'll put out for the summer. I had no plan on what I was going to do, to be honest. And I've been very fortunate to have created some good shows with the likes of Steve Morris and Aidan O'Brien. So do check those out. These will be a regular thing. We're back and looking forward to a long season. I think it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think without a lot of bad luck yesterday, we certainly don't lose the game. And I'm sure Lady Luck will equalise itself out over the course of the season. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks as always for listening. I'll speak to you on the next one. Thanks again. Bye for now.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.